Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today we are wearing the CleanSpark t-shirt because we have a lot to talk about CleanSpark today. They just announced another huge acquisition. This company continues to play offense while the other players in the industry are all playing defense. I am absolutely loving it. I'll break that down in today's video. But on another note, if you're watching this video, it's your lucky day because I just so happen to have lots of handy little CleanSpark merch on hand here that I am looking to give away. Nice new CleanSpark logo, nice duffel bag here, top tier quality. Also have backpacks with the CleanSpark logo on it. I use a backpack identical to this, top quality, top of the line stuff right here. Also have cool water bottles, wireless speakers that have CleanSpark logos on them, a lot of different stuff. But the caveat is you can only have your name on it if you're a paid monthly member. Now, the good news is if you are unsatisfied with your first month in the membership, I will 100% refund you for your first month. So I don't know what you guys call that in the investment world, but I call it a risk-free investment. And on top of all of that good stuff, all of these giveaways that I do, which by the way, no other membership does that stuff, I also give access to my members this incredible in-depth CleanSpark spreadsheet that gives you my personal price targets. You can download this spreadsheet for yourself, change my numbers, come up with your own price targets if you disagree with any of my assumptions. But just hit the join button for Pete's sake down below. It's completely risk-free, and you might get some cool CleanSpark swag. Anyways, even if you choose not to join the membership, I still love ya. I'm glad you're here, so please don't leave. And we're going to get into the good stuff now. Today, this morning, in case you missed it, which I sure hope you didn't because this was huge news, CleanSpark announced an agreement with Mawson Infrastructure Group to acquire a turnkey Bitcoin mining facility located in Sandersville, Georgia. Currently, this facility has 80 megawatts of total capacity, which can support 2.4 exahash per second of Bitcoin mining, but the total planned capacity over time is 230 megawatts, which is expected to support 7 exahash per second. The transaction is expected to add 1.4 exahash per second of mining power to CleanSpark's hash rate before the end of the year, which you'll see in my spreadsheet. I properly reflected this and increased my estimated CleanSpark hash rate by the end of the year, which increased my price target, obviously. But you can see it'll also add 2.4 exahash in early 2023 and a total of 7 exahash by the end of 2023. So, along with this purchase, CleanSpark has agreed to purchase from Mawson 6,468 of the latest generation mining ASICs for approximately $9.5 million in cash at a cost of $17 per terahash. That is probably the lowest purchase price on a batch of latest generation mining rigs that I have ever seen. And these machines already operating at the acquired site will add over 558 petahashes per second, or just over half an exahash per second of computing power immediately upon the closing of this acquisition. And this part coming up is my favorite part of this whole deal. Mawson will receive consideration of approximately $26.5 million in cash, which includes the $9.5 million for the miners, but also up to $11 million in CleanSpark stock as payment for this facility that CleanSpark is buying. That should tell you one thing as a CleanSpark investor, that even though this company is selling their facility to CleanSpark, they're accepting payment in CleanSpark shares because they strongly believe that CleanSpark's share price is only going one direction, and that is up. This is still going to cause CleanSpark investors some dilution, but this $11 million in particular of CleanSpark stock is a little bit different because the company is not necessarily selling stock to raise cash to give that cash to whoever is the seller of this facility. They're simply paying them in CleanSpark stock. That's like if I would walk up to you and offer to buy your house for $11 million in RexFinance stock. Obviously, you probably wouldn't take it because that's risky, but these people did. The people that are selling this facility to CleanSpark took this deal, $11 million in CleanSpark stock. That should not be understated. But the maximum total purchase price for the facility and the miners is $42.5 million. They hope to keep on board all of the 20 dedicated professionals that already work at this facility. And it's able to support 24,000 latest generation miners. And by the end of the expansion at this facility, it can support 70,000 latest generation generation miners, which equates to about 7 exahash per second, as we already know, because they mentioned that here at the top of the press release. So this was obviously really big news for CleanSpark and its investors. I personally think they practically stole this facility. It's another facility that I think they're going to have paid off in less than 12 months. And at that point, it's just going to be cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, because Bitcoin mining, for better or for worse, is pretty much just a game of the big get bigger, and if you aren't getting bigger, you're going to be crushed and destroyed and probably bought out at some point in time because you won't be able to support your operations. If you mine more Bitcoin, that allows you to sell more Bitcoin, which allows you to buy more facilities to mine more Bitcoin, which allows you to sell even more Bitcoin, and it's kind of an endless loop right there. And as Bitcoin prices recover to even $30,000 per Bitcoin, at that point, because CleanSpark is adding all of this production right now at the market bottom, that's really the point in time where CleanSpark can start to build up their HODL balance. And as soon as they get their HODL balance bolstered, they can again acquire another new facility, and it's again kind of this cycle. CleanSpark is sitting in a absolutely phenomenal spot right now, but going to this Excel spreadsheet, you can see I added the 2 most recent miner purchases, and both of these purchases, matching the previous 3, were tremendous deals. Again, we already covered this batch they purchased today, along with this facility, only costs them $17 per terahash and adds over 0.5 exahash per second of mining capacity or power. And the $28 per terahash that they bought S19J Pros at on September 1st is also a steal. I think going forward, and you'll see right here in this chart that I put together just this morning, I actually added this section to the spreadsheet just today, that the average price per terahash for S19J Pros is probably going to be $35 to maybe even $40 per terahash, and they got these at $28 per terahash. An absolute steal in my personal opinion. Now, a lot of the concern with CleanSpark is they have all of these goals. They clearly have enough infrastructure now, if not more than enough infrastructure, but how are they going to pay for all of these miners they're going to need in order to hit their guidance that they have set out for the end of 2023? If you guys aren't aware, their guidance for the end of 2023 is to be at 22.4 exahash per second. Right now, they're sitting at about 3.8, maybe right around 4 exahash per second, which, by the way, let's take a second to really think about how fast CleanSpark has started to grow over the past month and a half. I remember a press release coming out just a few weeks ago saying they hit the 3 exahash per second milestone, and they're already knocking on the door of, if not, have already surpassed the 4 exahash per second level. That is incredible execution, and execution has been lacking in the Bitcoin mining industry ever since its infancy. So it's great. It's phenomenal that we finally have a company and a management team that is executing. In this industry, you are investing in a management team. And if you find a management team like CleanSpark that executes, you're going to be better off. But anyways, let's break this down. So far they've purchased about 6.5 exahash per second worth of Bitcoin miners, which means to reach their end of year guidance for 2023 of 22.4 exahash per second, they're going to need to purchase an additional almost 16 exahash per second of mining rigs, which breaks down to about 158,000 miners, 159,000 miners, which would cost an average price of $35 per terahash of $555 million. Not easy. And I understand that worry. How are they going to come up with this money? Well, for one, I do expect if these prices for Bitcoin miners stay this low, the company is going to continue to purchase 5,000 to 10,000 mining rigs at a time in multiple batches like they've been doing over the past several months. I think this sort of action is going to continue, and that is going to put a dent in the dollar investment required to reach the 22.4 exahash per second. But it's also important to remember that the company on their balance sheet right now has over $400 million in unencumbered assets, meaning $400 million that is not dedicated or backing any sort of debt right now. The company has room to take out debt if they want to. Now, the debt markets are not attractive at all. Interest rates are going up. That's why they've tried to avoid the debt markets right now. But if the markets recover, say the real estate in the facilities that CleanSpark owns, increase and appreciate in value, they can use those facilities and that real estate to back loans rather than using their Bitcoin mining rigs or Bitcoin itself, both very, very volatile assets to back their debt. And as a result of this, as a result of CleanSpark owning their own facilities, they're going to get very much more favorable terms on their debt than most other mining companies have. But the other way the company is going to pay for all of these miners is through time. That's probably the best answer I have. Next year, according to my numbers, the company is going to be cash flowing in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And those hundreds of millions of dollars are dollars they can put directly into purchasing new mining rigs throughout the year, adding to their total exahash per second. As I already mentioned at the beginning of this video, I previously had CleanSpark's total hash rate at year-end 2022 of 5 exahash per second. I think they're going to be closer to 5.2 based on my numbers. And then at the end of the year 2023, obviously, they have the goal of getting to 22.4. But taking an average Bitcoin price of $50,000, which is really pretty reasonable, if we think Bitcoin is close to its bottom, you can see that the company at 5.2 and building up to 22.4 exahash per second throughout the year is going to be close to $1 billion in revenue. Obviously, this number is very fluid based on when they purchase miners and when they get them deployed. But let's just go ahead and assume that, hey, they bring in $865 million in revenue in 2023. Might be a couple $100 million less, might be even a little bit more than $865 million. But even using my estimated $550 million in cash expenses, in cost of revenues and operating expenditures, I expect the company to report a bottom line profit of $316 million next year. That is cash flow that they can put directly into purchasing more and more miners. Also in this spreadsheet, I've accounted for a 50% assumed reoccurring annual share dilution for CleanSpark stock. That is a lot of dilution, but that's kind of the bottom line right now. CleanSpark is going to have to dilute shareholders in order to grow. But that's the point of going to the public markets. It's to raise money to grow your business, and investors are giving a management team money to invest for them to hopefully get a better return than the market itself can provide. So 50% annual dilution might be too much. Again, it might be too little. There's just a lot of things here that you have to guess on, which again, join the membership. If you disagree with any of my assumptions here, download the spreadsheet. Change my numbers and come up with your own price targets. But based on this, in a price to sales ratio of 10, I get a price target for CleanSpark of over $20 this year in 2022. I don't expect the company to deliver bottom line profits, so they're not going to have a PE ratio or PE valuation for 2022. But moving into 2023 and 2024, when they have those bottom line profits, they'll start to have that PE ratio. In the future, what I want to do is create a cash flow per share valuation. Basically, it's going to take a lot of time. I'm going to set down one weekend and do it, but that might be the best way to get a valuation and a price target for CleanSpark, because for net income and EPS, yeah, they're great metrics, but there are a lot of non-cash items that affect EPS, which is why CleanSpark themselves have started to use the adjusted EBITDA metric, which I think is largely appropriate for the Bitcoin mining industry, because you cannot predict whether you're going to have a gain on the sale of your Bitcoin or whether you're going to have to write down an impairment. You can't predict how much either of those two items are going to cost you or benefit you in any given quarter. But anyways, next year in 2023, I do think Bitcoin is going to go on a bit of a run. I have an average price of $50,000, as I already covered, and I think as a result of that, CleanSpark could possibly have a 40 forward PE ratio, because when the Bitcoin markets are doing well, the overall profit opportunity for Bitcoin mining companies is pretty much endless. But then in 2024, I knock that forward PE valuation multiple down to just a 30, and that gives me a price target of $176. And basically what I did to get my final price target for CleanSpark stock is I averaged these two different valuation metrics that I used here. Again, I'm looking to add different valuation types. When I get that done, when I get it put in the spreadsheet, I will update this in the Discord server for everybody. But you can see right now, I think CleanSpark is undervalued by 317%. Basically what this means is I think CleanSpark is a great buy anywhere under $20.06. So as long as CleanSpark is under that amount, I'm going to be buying the stock. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take anything I say as financial advice. But then next year in 2023, if CleanSpark does accomplish 22.4 exahash per second and over 5% of the total network hash rate, I think CleanSpark can reach the $100 share price. And again, this is adjusted for any dilution that happens, up to 50%. And then in 2024, I give them a price target of $137. So you can see the upside here based on my numbers and my assumptions is tremendous, which is why I have bought more shares of CleanSpark just recently. It's been a while since I've really bought a bunch of shares, but this week I purchased, I think, 1,000 shares in my Robinhood account. And that's the first time I've done that within a couple of days of each other in the same week in a very, very long time. I think CleanSpark, if it hasn't bottomed yet, is very, very close to its bottom. CleanSpark is proving itself. The management team is proving itself through their execution. They are a top 3 Bitcoin miner right now. They might have been number 2 last month behind Core Scientific, but over the long term, I think CleanSpark has cemented itself in the Bitcoin mining industry. The risk that CleanSpark will get bought out or go to zero is pretty much next to none as long as Bitcoin sticks around, which at this point, it's here to stay. I hate to break it to you. Bitcoin is not going to zero. If anybody tells you that, I don't know what to tell you, but it's not happening. But anyways, with that, I'm going to end this video here. Don't forget to join the membership, free merch. I'll ship it to you. You don't even have to pay shipping. Literally a risk-free investment. Get access to my spreadsheets. We might also do a members exclusive interview with the CFO, kind of an Easter egg there for you. Not sure if it'll be possible, but we're trying to get that set up. We're going to see if it is compliant. If it is, we're going to have a members exclusive interview in the Discord server where you can ask your questions directly to the CFO of a public company. Again, any other membership out there offer that? I don't think so. Have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. Peace out.